Good morning, everybody. This is Diggs. It's another beautiful day out here in the Pacific Northwest, and everybody, it's finally time. The 4-star rare selector is here. I'm going to talk a little bit about why I'm going to sit on my selector for right now, some of the various factors that I'm thinking about to help you guys make your decision, as well as some additional things that I think we should all factor in. So let's go ahead and dig in. So we got into a very long discussion on stream the other night around what 4-star selector everybody should be getting. And a lot of it is going to be dependent on your account. And for me right now, I'm kind of going to hold because I want to gather more information first. And what I want to grab more information on is going to be regarding the crab and how the crab executes in PvP. Some of you may be able to answer this specifically, but there's a lot of people in my chat who are saying, crab immediately is the best way to go for PvP. That immunity to damage is really important, and I don't necessarily know what the word immune to damage means. And that is the biggest factor here when I am thinking about what familiar to get. For a long time, I was pretty set that I was going to be getting Molten Lion because I wanted to continue building my Molten Lion up. And to me, immune to damage for 1.65 seconds when I already have, for example, Molten Lion, Boar, and Kona, it just doesn't make sense to me in a PvP capacity. There are some situations where people are like, well, you can survive Kona. Well, most of the time, if a Kona is going to one-shot you and you're popping Crab-a-Lantern to save yourself, one, you're going to have to time that because it's only 1.65 seconds. Two, if that Kona is going to kill you, that player is probably going to kill you immediately because that means their attack score is so high in comparison to your HP and defense that it's not going to make a lot of sense to pop this to survive for 1 second from a Kona and then have that player kill you. I could imagine in top play, because this was the argument that was made to me, is that people were saying, well, top players are using it. I can imagine in top play, if we're talking Lava Valley, top 30, top 10, and when it's about killing other players before getting killed yourself, right? Because you have cursing so high on your weapons, but you don't have cursing really high on your defensive equipment. I imagine having Crab-a-Lantern could be very powerful in that situation. Now, if you're outside of top 10 and outside of top 30, I think having Crab-a-Lantern makes a less of an impact overall in terms of your high ranking, because you're oftentimes not going to be against players that will one-shot you with Kona or that will one-shot you with abilities. So most people don't participate on the level of play that I would expect to see Crab-a-Lantern viable in. That being said, I am curious about Crab-a-Lantern, and this does impact my decision, and I want to do some research, is what immunity to damage means. For example, if I pop Big Suck on somebody and they are trapped in my Big Suck ability, can they pop Crab-a-Lantern? Does popping Crab-a-Lantern enable them to get out of Big Suck? Does it enable them to get out of Witch's Breaking Wave? These are things that, if that's possible, if you're able to pop this during that, that would be a situation, because you can pop Molten Lion during that. So if you can pop Crab-a-Lantern during Breaking Wave, like most of the time as a rogue, Breaking Wave is a one-shot kill. It's probably a one-shot kill for anybody that gets caught in it. But if you can pop Crab-a-Lantern, that would negate that Witch's cast of Breaking Wave, and you could potentially roll out in that 1 second, right? So knowing this and having some questions about Crab-a-Lantern, I would say, if that's true, if you can roll out a Breaking Wave with Crab-a-Lantern's ability, I think Crab-a-Lantern would be one of the best choices for all people who are interested in terms of PvP. Now, that's what I have to say about Crab-a-Lantern. Now, if you are interested in terms of Familiar Arena, I'm not sure I would pull Crab-a-Lantern just for Familiar Arena, because I think no matter what, getting different versions and upgrading familiars that you already have is going to be more viable. Personally, I'm really focused on Lava Valley. So For me, Lava Valley is my focus. I want to get into that top 100 bracket, and anything I can do to help me get there is what I want. So as someone who's using Molten Lion, and who wants to get Molten Lion higher, because the higher you get Molten Lion, the longer the immortality lasts, right? Which means you can last longer, you can deal more damage, you get more HP restored. To me, getting a dupe copy of Molten Lion is almost a no-brainer. What does linger on my mind, though, is the opportunity to get Rimu. Having the capability to have damage from players minus 3%, stun resist plus 20%, this is all really powerful, especially for players who maybe play, you know, Destroyer or Swordsman, people who want to take less damage in Lava Valley. This could be really powerful, especially if you imagine, right, stacking this with, you know, the new food that came out. So that would be minus 13, stack it with a body piece, that's minus 25, right? So all of a sudden you're going to be minus 37% damage taken from players. This could add up very quickly. Rimu also gets a buff similar to Arachnus, which is something to think about as well in terms of being able to hit the opponent in the near future. So you could make a case for Rimu that way. And then I do think Rimu's familiar arena capability, or at least PvE capability, is something to consider. So I think there is, you know, options in all of these. And I don't want to say this is the one option. I mainly wanted to make this video to talk about why I'm hesitant on pulling for Crab, why I'm thinking about Crab, what I'm going to investigate with my friend who has Crab. I'm going to talk to Jason Luna, do some testing because he does have the Crab. Because if you can get out of Big Suck, or you can get out of Breaking Wave, I think everybody should be getting Crab. Now, if you're someone who, you know, doesn't have a Hippocampus could be great for silencing opponents. Stag could be really good if you're wanting to line your opponents up in Familiar Arena. I've heard great arguments for both of those. I think Firelynx could also be really good for Familiar Arena, just for having the capability to lower the amount of HP that's being healed. I don't have a Firelynx, but being able to decrease the target's heal recovery by a certain percentage for 6 seconds could be really great, as well as having an attack that's AoE. So I think there's just a variety of situations, and I think you have to really take this slowly and kind of ask yourself what's going to be best for your account. If you're in the situation like me where you're kind of thinking maybe Crab now, hang tight, because I'll do a follow-up video on it, and I'll just give some details on how the Crab's immortality works. I'll also talk a little bit of Crab from the Familiar Arena perspective. I'm thinking Crab won't be worth it. Everything I've heard says Crab's not worth it, but I could be wrong. So I'm going to go test that. We're going to, you know, find out about it, and I will get back to you guys. Thanks so much for watching, and I hope you guys all enjoy your 4-star Rare Plus Selector.